Welcome to Crafty Hints. If you're new here, I'm Chantel, and here's how you can follow me on my social media if you'd like to. Wow, we're getting into the craft show and Christmas bazaar season. So I put together 10 great DIYs that I have done that are great money makers for craft shows. Let's get crafty. All right. I started out with these Hippo water slide decals. I just printed them out on my inkjet printer, and then I gave it 3 coats of that matte clear spray. And then I found these tiles. These were the ones from, I think these were from Menards. I got some from Home Depot also. The ones from Home Depot are a little bit bigger. So you'll just want to check out your hardware store. And I just peeled them off the backing. Now I'm trimming this out just to make sure that it gives it just a little bit of space off the edges so that it slides. I've got my bowl here of warm water. And so I, of course, got to double check this, make sure it doesn't go off the edge. And then when I drop it in the bowl of water, I'm only going to have to leave it for about 30 seconds. And then it becomes loose off of the backing. I'll have a link down below if you are interested in water slide decals. I got them off of Amazon. And there, it does fit. But I've used them for all different projects. I've used them on glass. I've used them on plastic. You name it, they work pretty well. And when you're sealing it, you're really just sealing in that ink so that your ink doesn't run. All right, I had a little bit of water on there, and now I just pull this out. And see how it slides around just a little bit? It lets you reposition it. It's pretty forgiving as long as you're not, too tough with it. Now I'm taking a paper towel and getting that excess water out so that it can dry and fully adhere to my tile. Now, once this was dry, I give it maybe an hour or so just to make sure it's totally dry. You could give it a coat right on the tile so that the shines matched up perfectly. I didn't do so. I made this cute little wreath with some graphics from Design Bundles. And now I'm just going to add a little bit of ribbon, but it's dry, it's all adhered there, it's looking nice. And these will be some great gift toppers. Oh boy, I guess my family will know what their gift toppers are a little bit early, but this is why I do Christmas in July. Give you a couple of ideas, get you a little bit ahead of the game. And I'm going to decorate these just a little bit different. I use this cheap ribbon from Walmart. It's like 50 cents. It's just over with all of their ribbons. And this one's nice and thin. Okay, on this one, I'm just going to wrap the top and the bottom. I simply did a dot of glue on the back and then on the side, wrapping it around, and then I'll finish adhering it. Now, you could also add some felt or some cardstock or something if you wanted to cover up the back of these. You could definitely do that as well. I didn't think it was necessary. They don't look bad on the back. All right, now I'm just attaching my little hanger, and this one's about done also. So they're just that easy. And the font that I have there, I also had purchased in a big bundle of fonts. They have them at such a good price. Here and there, they have huge font sales. But this was in a bottle, and it was called Sunkisa. I will show that down below so that if you want to look for that font. But it's a really pretty font. Now I'm just choosing to decorate one of the other tiles with my Posca paint pen. You could also use some acrylic. Aren't these pretty? which one is your favorite? I kind of like that believe. Isn't that pretty how it just intertwines? Okay, I grabbed these mittens last winter and held on to them. I just knew that I could make a craft with them. Okay, so then I thought I want these mittens to have, you know, just more of a country feel to them. So I'm going to cover up the blue, but if your colors were blue and white, this could be perfect for you. And now this is just part of a toilet paper tube. I just clipped off a little bit to expand that band out. I had a couple of those extras hanging around from when I made my stocking caps, or stocking caps? Yeah, I guess that's what they'd be, in my last video. I'll link that here for you if you're interested in that. The little yarn hats that you can make for ornaments or tiered trays. Okay, I just put a little bit of wax paper down there. You could use any tissue paper, cotton balls, whatever you'd like. I like these hangers and found them at Walmart last year. Aren't they cute? Just with the little swirl. And there it is. Now I'm just taking some of this off of... Oh goodness, I was going to have my other video first to show you. I'm so sorry I put this one in order first, but you'll be able to see that it's just a long garland with the different ones. I had it last year, used it all throughout the Christmas season, and it's just so much cheaper. It was like, gosh, it's going to say on there, I think it was $9 and something. I also grabbed the cheap garland that's like $2 something, and I used that instead of a bunch of picks. And as you can see, if I would have included all of that, it would have been too bulky, so I just attached it to a skewer. But I will show you in the next DIY where I got this from. And I chose a flocked one, but Walmart has all different types of long garlands, and it's just a more inexpensive way to do it if you make a lot of DIYs for Christmas. This is just some of the berries from Dollar Tree, and I used that, you know, last year. I've used it some for July, but some of these berries, and then I don't waste the wire. I save that because if I want to attach this so that it's a little bit taller, I tend to just clip those off, and see, there's some of that wire. So I'm just going to glue that on, give it a little bit of height, and then I can just hide it within my greenery there. I just love the look of that flocked garland. It's just adorable. I just mixed the sizes there. Actually, I guess I did end up going to just the bigger berries, but you could mix them with the sizes. The one here has a little white spot where it was attached to another one. So I just put a dot of glue, and now I just press some of that greenery on top of it. You'll never see it. I had that little pine cone garland from the Dollar Tree last year, and I just clipped those off, and they work good with that wire just to plunk right down in here. I decided to just put in one, and that was perfect. Isn't this looking cute? Okay, now I'm going to just attach this ribbon. Just making sure I line it up to cover the blue. And what I would suggest, and I ended up lifting this up afterwards, is glue it just about 1/4 of an inch in, leaving the flap at the beginning, so that when you come back around, you can put your end here right inside and then fold it down over the top. But here it is. Isn't that adorable? I used the Farm Fresh calendar, and then they have the Farm Fresh Christmas trees there, and I thought it would be cute. This was a sign I got last fall. I really like them because they fit the calendars just about perfect. And they have them at all different seasons. Now, I tried the cling wrap way of attaching this. It didn't work for me. Not sure what I did wrong, but I went back to my trusty glue stick and decided that was fine. Now, here's that garland I was talking about. It's 9 feet long, and I can just sit here and keep clipping off of it. There is the garland that I get from Walmart, and then there's the garland ties from Dollar Tree that I was showing you. But I used that, a good portion of last year, and it will probably last me all this season. So imagine how many picks this would add up to. All right, I'm just going to now cover that little hole where the calendar had it, to hang it up. If you're enjoying these, I do hope that you've given me a thumbs up and you've subscribed. I'd love for you to join my friends and family here. I truly enjoy reading your comments, and I respond to every comment. So let me know, where you saw me, if this is your first time here, or if you're a long time watcher. I'd love to hear from you too. What are you doing this summer? Are you starting some Christmas crafts? I love to interact with you. And also, you can always reach me at craftyhints@gmail.com or on Instagram. I, love to chat with you there too, and you can see different things on Instagram. Here, I'm just wrapping this ribbon around my hand, making a bow. But yeah, reach out, or if you redo something that I did, I would love, and I'll throw it in a video. I would love to see it. And you can email it, you can share it on Instagram. I would love to see what you're making. All right, that was just a little bit of floral wire to hold it in the center. Fluff out that bow a little bit, and then I'll tie ribbon over the center and make my tails. I love some simple DIYs too. So this isn't an expensive one. This is something that you can do quickly, but it'll give you a big bang for your buck. This would be cute, to put on in your entry, maybe with a couple of those Dollar Tree pine trees. Oh, so cute. All right, just getting ready to dovetail these, fold it over and snip it at an angle. I do want to remind you to check out the playlist for the other 3 ladies. I would also suggest subscribing. They're very talented. We do a collab around on the 20th of each month. Sometimes there's more of us, sometimes a couple less, but we try to do it around the 20th if we can. Summer gets busy though. Some of our friends were just a little bit busy. Okay, so fluff this out just a little bit more. And then I'm going to use these pine cones. These were pine cones I cut down and I used the other end in another project. Waste not, want not. But do remember, collect your pine cones now if they're falling and save those for Christmas. Okay, I wanted my bow to sit up a little bit higher, so I'm going to add just a little bit of greenery right over the top of those pine cones. And here we are. Oh, and that ribbon, 50 yards. It was goodness. So it's 150 feet of, I've got that one, and I got white and black. I got that on Amazon also. I'll link that if you like it. I think it'll be great for Christmas and other DIYs. Here it is. I found these boxes at the Dollar Tree. They come with an outside, and then they have a little drawer. I took one of the outside and 3 of the insides, and I painted the front in white Waverly chalk paint. Next, I took some of the poster board stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just pressing that right on top. Make sure your white paint is completely dry before you do this. Otherwise, it will not lift, which is what you're going to want this sticker to come off. So this is our reverse stenciling technique. We're going to press those all down, and now I'm just taking some Waverly Crimson chalk paint, and I'm taking my sponge brush and just dabbing it on there. This will help seal the edges so that none of the paint gets in there. I do that, and then I go back over and just give it one coat. I waited just a little bit of time. So give them all a nice coat. The one thing you do want to do with these drawers is make sure and find which is your nice front side, because the insides, as you can see, have flowers or hearts, and you're going to want those to be next to a solid side. All right, now that was dry. I gave it a couple of coats and painted the inside down a little bit just in case it would show. Painted any edges that would show after they're glued together. So we're just removing the stickers off, and it has the nice white letters. I decided though that I want to distress this. I did like just the red and the white, and it would be nice and crisp and pretty. But I want it to be like these are some old blocks that have been around for a while. So I went back over it with a sanding block. So just going around those edges, going over the painted letters, some places a little bit harder than others, just how it would weather over time. Now I'm taking a dry brush, and it's just a chip brush, and I'm just going over it with a little bit of truffle and sanding it back in places. Now I'm taking my hot glue and putting that around the edges that will touch. I'm going to stagger these. So the N will be out front. Now I'm going to push this all the way to the back of the N and make sure it adheres. And you can definitely use some clamps. I'm sorry, those are back a little bit further. You couldn't see that. But that's what I did. I went back and forth. I have the O is placed back, the E's a little bit forward, and then the L's back just a little bit. Just giving those blocks a little bit of a staggered technique. And here I am using this garland. Again, it's like $2.74 for, how many feet is that? 9 feet. So I'm just going to keep using this instead of the more expensive way of getting picks. And then I can use as many as I want. It's a decent quality for, you know, under $3. So I'm just undoing those wires and pulling those out. And I'm going to, this is the one that I bought last year at Walmart. And I just continue to pull those off and use them. So I'm going to place those in there. These would be a little bit like what you could get at the Dollar Tree. They're garland ties. It would be similar, but these are a little bit stronger. So I did those at the front and the back of each one. And then I'm going to use a little bit of, I think this was called Rochester Pine, is what that one was. I haven't seen that one quite yet at Walmart. But just continue to stack them in there any way you'd like until it's nice and full and looks the way you want it to. And as you know, if you buy something like, there's a pick. So that would be, 98 cents minimum for that, where we would have needed several of those. All right, and just getting some of the berry pick that I did have, and this will go a long way for mini projects also. So I'm just taking off pieces of that and staggering where I put them in each of my blocks. The greens and reds just look so pretty together. All right, I'm just going to continue to stagger those in each of the 4 blocks. Aren't those pretty? I tucked a couple little pine cones in there and it's good to go. I think those are so pretty. And it looks a little old, a little bit worn. I do look forward to reading your comments below and respond to each and every one of them. If you do decide to subscribe, also hit that bell. It'll notify you when I have a new video. Is another way you can use the Dollar Tree Christmas trees. Now, I don't need the base of it, so I pulled that off. And now you're just going to pull all of those out. We're going to make a little swag. So when you're fluffing those out, you do want to make sure that a couple of branches face down the middle so that you don't see that metal base. And just keep taking them and tweak them around a little bit. Now I'm taking some more of that garland that I used earlier and just undo some of those branches. And now I'm just wrapping them around that center. I'm just on each side of it, just trying to make it that this has a nicer texture to it than the Dollar Tree one, but it helps make it to be a nice full tree. Not tree, I'm sorry, swag. So you have a couple different types of greenery in there. Once you're happy with it, make yourself a bow. I did 5 loops. So I would suggest to make 2 larger loops and then 2 just a little bit smaller and then 1 smaller that goes right across the middle. You can tie this with whatever you'd like. I found a zip strip works really nice. Just pull that tight, arrange your bow a little bit. And pull it tight, and then you're just going to clip off that end. Now take another piece of ribbon and tie that around the center so it just looks like it was all tied together and just a happy pretty bow. I like this. It gave it a little bit of a country feel, a little nostalgia. I don't know. It was a warm feeling bow, and I thought it would go well with this. Now, as I was deciding how I would attach it and it would lay, I decided I would use some floral wire, slip that right under the loop, and then I will just run that wire around the pole. And then up at the top of that, you'll want to just put another little piece of greenery just to cover the top of that pole. Now I want to go in with some red berries because the red and the green just look so pretty and it'll match our bow a little bit. So just snip off some pieces and then you can just glue those in as you'd like. You could also use the floral wire if you're partial to that. Whichever way, of course, this is your project. These are just a few ideas on how to go about it. I'm just trying to get in between these berries and get around that glue so that I don't lose too much and that you have some white areas. So just a little bit of hot glue and I tuck them in and under and around the bow, and sometimes I glue the bow to it just to hold everything in place so that it lays nicely. I think this will actually be for on my guest bathroom door. So just a little nice piece of home decor. This could be perfect on your front door as well. You're also going to just make a metal loop up at the top where I had adhered the bow to it with a wire. Make a nice metal loop and wrap that around a little bit, and that'll make a great hanger for the back of this. Now I'm just tucking in a couple pine cones. I lucked out. I have one of these trees in my backyard, and they just work so nicely, but you could still go for a walk. I think there's still time to gather up some pine cones. But whenever you do that, if you go to parks or anything like that, if you don't have a pine tree, be on the lookout. My one tree gives me new pine cones several times a year. All right, I'm gluing some underneath, some on top, some like they're growing off of the little pieces of greenery, wherever it looks good to you. Now I took this metal welcome from a fall packet from the Dollar Tree. They also have larger ones that they're selling individually now. I used a little bit of that floral wire. It'll blend in nicely with the greenery. I did that on each of the E's. Isn't that pretty? I started out with these craft sticks and some coffee stir sticks, and I'm just marking those off. I'm going to be making two different types of sleighs, so I marked those off where I want to trim those just using my miter shears. You could also use scissors, whatever works best for you, but the miter shears I like give you a nice straight cut. Next, I'm using some Gorilla wood glue, and that will help adhere them together. When I trimmed these, I made the sides just a little bit shorter than the two in the center. Usually a sled is a little bit tapered, so that's what we're going to go with here. The coffee stir sticks I found on Amazon, and I can link those below. Sometimes you can find them at Walmart or Staples of all places. So here I'm using a coffee stir stick, and I'm taking some antique wax. I think that's the Home Decor antique wax. The Waverly antique wax works well also. They're both made by Plaid, so great products and very similar. So I just took a wet wipe and went over that. Now I'm working on those skinnier stir sticks for the first sled. And then I had this little tiny thin garland that I had picked up at Hobby Lobby. I wanted to make some little miniature wreaths with it, but I thought it would work well for some greenery for my sled. And then this Jingle Bell garland I found at the Dollar Tree, and I, pulled those off. Here is a little piece of stir stick that I just cut off to go along that front of the sled, and that'll be, when you've got your rope to pull your sled, it's kind of that little brace that holds it. And this is just a piece of jute twine that came from another sign. I liked it because it isn't all frayed. It was nice, and I thought it would add a nice touch. Now I'm just going to attach these bells. I'm going to wrap them around a few times, add a little bit of hot glue, and it kind of looks like holly. I thought it was cute. The little jingle bells add a little bit of, something cute. So get those to work however you want. Add whatever embellishments you want. Another fun thing that you could do with this is personalize it with a Sharpie or a paint pen, writing the year or someone's name. That would be adorable. All right, so we want to put these rails or runners on our sled. So I just put a little bit of hot glue there. And so that'll hold it and get it in place. Now I'm going to tack it on the inside and a little bit on the outside. And depending how sturdy you feel yours is, you might want to cut just a couple more craft sticks or stir sticks to go and place right on top of this. That would just give it, a little more bracing. And I'm just taking that stick and taking off any excess glue there, and it just rubs off nicely. Comes right off that wax. And just stays put where I need it to. All right, a little bit of that jute twine to attach my hanger. And there it is. It'll hang nicely. But I thought it would be cute if I added just a little knot there. So I'm going to see here how much I need, and then I will just tie this around. And I think that this adds just a cute little, I don't know, old-fashioned touch. It gave it a little bit of something. Who knew what a knot could do, right? And just get that centered back up, and I think it added just what I was looking for. Now I'll glue on my little holly. And there we are. I wanted to take just this little sticker off of these wooden stickers from the Dollar Tree. I'm trying to make skis, and I was trying to figure out what do I have that could be the little circle on the poles, and this is what I came up with. If you can think of something better, I'd love to hear it. I could not think of anything else that I had on hand. Now I'm going to make my skis, and so I'm just trimming the ends off of this craft stick. Now you could do like I did in my sled last year, where you heat that up in a little bit of boiling water and then just bend the stick up at the tips. I did that on my Santa sled. So if you want those bent up at the end, you could do that. I'm painting toothpicks there with a little bit of my brush metal. And now I just took my paint marker, and across the ends, I'm just making those a little bit white. This marker had gotten left open, so it wasn't working quite as well as I'd like. Add just a touch of black to the tips. Now I'm taking another toothpick and just shoving it all the way through so that when I do go put it on the skis, I don't take off any paint or anything. It'll just slide right on there easily. I decided to put a little bit of tape down to make some stripes up at the top to line them up. They're not perfect by all means, but I thought they were kind of cute. All right, and I had gone over those stickers with some ink and just gonna push that in place. Oh, I think they're already coming together. All right, next I'm going to take some ribbon and just fold it over. So that's that skinny ribbon I just used on the last sled. It's real thin, so it takes a minute to kind of get that bent over there. But I wanted, you know how skis have those handles that you can put your glove through to hold on to your skis? That's what I wanted to make on the ends of these. So I just bent that over, and I'm just gonna glue that right on there. I'm excited to hear which of the 4 ornaments that I've made today is your favorite. So let me know in the description box below, but this is part of the 12 Days of Christmas, as I said, so there will be additional videos. I'm going to do a total of 12 ornaments, so I will do probably 3 videos then and just do 4 per video. But if you look, there will be, you know, more added to this playlist, and there will, I believe there will be another playlist or 2. So I'll always list those because you never know when you're going to stumble upon another great DIYer that you just can't live without their DIYs. There are some amazing crafters on here. All right, so I'm just gluing these in place. Now I'm gluing a little bit of ribbon here. Gosh, you could do these in any color. These would be really cute in a blue also. If my paint pen would have been working better, I started off trying to draw little snowflakes at the end, but it didn't turn out as well as I'd hoped. So here is my skis. Oh, and a sneak peek at the next DIY. Now, as you remember, I already glued this one together, so I just gave that a coat of crimson, and now I'm just trimming down the rails for this one. So this one was made with the craft sticks, so it's a little bit wider. And I just painted those black. Again, you guys know how to paint, so I won't make you watch that. And now just a little bit of hot glue like I did on the last one. If you watch my channel, you'll notice I try to keep my DIYs around 5 minutes or less. Because a lot of the steps you already know how to do. You're crafters, you've been doing this, but I try to show enough in case you're just starting out. But everyone can paint. We learned that in grade school. So just want to give you the steps and give you some inspiration. This time when I cut the crossbar there, I'm going to put it up further. I thought this would be cute on this one. You know, up there would be cute. Either way, just trying to show you different ways that you can make this your own. I also decided on this one to show you how to add some extra braces. And here I am. I'm using those scissors for this side. And so I'm going to put one here and then one down lower. And I just want to make sure these are the same length and that we have a nice straight edge. So once I make sure that this is straight, that the rail is straight and I have the glue where I want it, I'm going to just attach this piece Once it's tacked in place, I'm gonna go back with a little bit of that Waverly ink. You could use black acrylic paint. It just sometimes takes a couple more coats. I like the Waverly chalk paint because it gives you some great coverage, but some Apple Barrel blacks would be great just as well. All right, now just giving that a quick coat. And as you can see, you can just go back anywhere you snipped anything or anything like that. Just giving this a quick once over. All right, just finishing that up. Now I'm taking a chip brush with a little bit of that ink, just a little bit. It's starting to go on there a little bit dark, so I'll just come in with a wet wipe and take a little bit off. But I wanted this one a little bit distressed, so just showing you that, coming in with a little bit of that black ink will do that. I think it pulls the black from the rail as well, but I didn't like that little blob in the center, so I just take some of that off, and once it dries a little bit, I'll come back through. I can always come back and do a little bit of red as well. Here I just made a shoelace bow. Pretty quick and simple there. Now I'm just taking that cheap ribbon from Walmart. It's like 47 cents for this nice thin ribbon. That's like the everyday price, 47 or 57 cents, something like that. Now I'm just adding that to the edges and tucking that in place with a little skewer. All right, all we have left to do is attach our bow. Some gold jingle bells might have been cute there too. And I just want to tack this down a little bit so that when it's hanging from the tree, the bow sits there nicely. And there it is. I think it turned out cute. Which is your favorite? Do you like this one or did you like the white one better? Here it is from the tree. For this one, I took one of the long Dollar Tree wooden planks and I just cut it into 3 separate pieces. They're a little bit different size. I didn't really care. They're going to be for different signs on my tier tray. So then I was debating whether I would use the vinyl or some scrapbook paper that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I'm using these wooden mittens that are the wood stickers from the Dollar Tree. I flipped one over and just scraped off the little puffy adhesive sticker. And now I use some Mod Podge. And I'm just going to rub that, just making sure that it adheres evenly. And just trim off around that mitten. I will do the same for the other one, just a little bit of Mod Podge. And the same with the paper. Pretty easy steps. Just go over that with the brayer, just making sure I don't have any loose spots at all. It definitely helps. I did leave the little sticker on the back of one of them because it'll help attach it. And now I'm just going to take this emery board from the Dollar Tree. It's just basically sandpaper. One side's coarser than the other, and I just find it easy. Just make sure you go down, not up, and it'll give you a nice clean edge. Next, I took this automotive towel that you can find at the Dollar Tree also. One side of it's a little fluffier than the other, so double check and see which will fit your project. Just a little bit of hot glue and a little bit of this edge. This towel has gone a long way. I use this in several DIYs. So I just adhere it and then trim off the excess. The other side of this will fit the other mitten. Pretty easy again, right? Oh, I love these mittens though. How cute are they? You know, painting them wouldn't have done them justice, but I think this scrapbook paper and this faux fleece here just makes it so cute. All right, now I use these foam pop dot sort of things that are in the Crafter Square. They're double-sided. I just wanted to give it that little bit of a rise because when I set these mittens on top of each other, they're going to be uneven. So if I use those stickers, it'll help to balance them out a little bit. Now I took one of the tumbling tower blocks and I'm adding some Mod Podge again. And just using more of that leftover scrapbook paper. This is why I save my scraps. You never know where it'll come in handy. And I'm just wrapping this little tumbling tower block. I continue on with the Mod Podge and wrap it around. I left the bottom without the paper. It doesn't need it. And I do wrap 2 of these. One I wrap with just a side open instead of the bottom. And you'll see in just a moment why. And again, you can take that file and just get that edge nice and crisp. It's just easier than trying to get your scissors there and getting that smooth. You could also use your Sanders block. This is the other block. Like I said, the side of it is actually. So I glued these together to make a little stand for my sign that I'll be making. And I'm just using an acrylic paint pen. And this is my water slide decal that I printed with my inkjet printer. And then I sprayed some clear coat over it 3 times. I put that in lukewarm water and have it sit for 30 seconds. It slides right off. And look at that. If you don't have a Cricut, this is a fabulous way to personalize your signs. I'm just taking a paper towel, rubbing out that excess water. And it just says, "Baby, it's cold outside." All right, let's attach these mittens. And the reason I did flip that other one was all of these stickers have the thumb going the same way. So I just thought it looked cuter with the thumbs going in opposite directions. All right, I'm just taking off the paper on these adhesive foam bits and press that down. You could also add a little bit of hot glue. And now I'm just gluing it to its stand. And here it is. I started out with one of these jars from the Dollar Tree. They're like a salt shaker or container. I spray painted it white. Now I used one of my water slide decals and I have cocoa and some mittens on there and some snowflakes. That'll sit for 30 seconds. I leave the water on the back of the label so that I don't have to add water to that. And when you press it down, it just gives it a little bit of that wiggle room, but not a ton of water there that you have to wipe out. So I press that into place a little bit, make sure it's where I want it. If I want to move it, I can just add some water and lift it up a little bit. Now I'm just patting out that water. This is one of my favorite DIYs. I love how this turned out. I really liked the fall one, but I love this one. Oh my goodness. So I just wipe out all of the water. And now I'm taking that spackling. But first, I want something that the spackling can sit in. I used one of these foam trays that was a challenge item, so I still have a pack of those. I use them for paint. I've used them for DIYs. So waste not, want not. I just keep using them, and I'll use it to paint with, but I'm just going around that circle so that it will fit inside the jar for my spackling to sit on it so that I can make my cocoa and whipped cream. All right, now I have some spackling and I took some of my Waverly chalk paint in the color Truffle and I'm adding that to the spackling. I don't need any water. That paint really softens that up. And look at that. Does that not look like some rich cocoa? Okay. Now I just need to trim that just a tiny bit more so it will fit inside. You could see that it just wasn't quite there. A little bit of hot glue down inside so that it has an area to sit in. You want it just below the rim there. You could go a little bit lower if you wanted to. Now I'm going to just take this cocoa colored spackling and put this in here. And just spoon that in. I wanted a little bit to get kind of on the edges because your cocoa would do that. Even if it's rich, thick cocoa, it's not going to be just in the mug. You'll have a little bit on the edges. I would probably use just a little bit less because this did expand just a little bit as it sat. So you could use just a bit less, keeping it just a little bit below the rim. I wanted to make sure that you could see it. Now I need to make my whipped cream. So I took this sandwich bag and opened that up there, and I'll put some of my spackle in there and just a little bit of water. A little bit goes a long ways with this. I do end up adding a little bit more, so you could have gone with a bit more than I do right now. But I just kind of take my fingers in the water and flick some of that in there. Yeah, that didn't work. All right, get my fingers in there, get that going, and then you're just going to take your bag and work it around. It just is going to soften that up a bit and make it pliable. I do hope that if you're enjoying this, that you'll hit that subscribe button. I really want to have this channel grow. If you hit that bell, it will let you know when I do have new videos out. So I just snipped the corner of this. Oh, I need it just a little bit bigger. You could put this in a piping bag if you wanted to and put a fancy tip on it. But it was still a little bit thick, and I go back and add just a little bit more water. While I add that water, if you do like, I'm wondering which of these ends up your favorite. So I hope when you've watched all of them, you'll let me know in the comments below which is your favorite. This, I think, turned out to be my favorite. Now, whipped cream isn't perfect, so I wanted to just kind of spoon that around and make it like it's a little bit melty into my cocoa. If this one's your favorite, I'd love if you're on your cell phone or you'll just hit that coffee mug and let me know this is your favorite. I added a little bit of that brown spackling back in there so it kind of looks like the cocoa's mixed in. Then I just take a couple of these red sprinkles and put them on top, just for that little bit of extra so it pulls from the mug. Thanks again for watching. I do hope you were able to find a couple of ideas that you'll try yourself. Here's a couple other videos you might enjoy. Thank you so much for being you, and take a little bit of time to do some crafting.